Meet Connie Francis as one of America's most beloved singers of the 1950s and 1960s, a pioneer for female pop stars, and a woman whose personal life was filled with struggles that mirrored the passion in her music. Connie Francis, born Concetta Rosa Maria Franconero on December 12, 1937, in Newark, New Jersey, grew up in a modest Italian-American household where her father's dreams for her future would shape her destiny as much as her own voice. From an early age she sang at church gatherings, school events, and local talent shows, quickly proving she had both the range and charisma to captivate an audience. Though she also learned piano and accordion, it was her clear, emotional voice that would carry her far beyond the small neighborhoods of Newark. Her father, George, strict yet determined, became both her greatest supporter and her most formidable influence, pushing her relentlessly towards stardom while limiting her personal freedom. By her teenage years, she was already appearing on local television programs and auditioning for record labels, adopting the stage name Connie Francis to make her Italian surname easier for Americans to embrace. Her first recordings in the mid-1950s with MGM Records went largely unnoticed, and she faced rejection after rejection until fate intervened. In 1958, she reluctantly recorded a song her father insisted on, an old standard called "Who's Sorry Now?" To her surprise, the track exploded after she performed it on Dick Clark's American Bandstand. It shot into the top 10, transformed her career overnight, and earned her the title of the first true female pop star of the rock and roll era. Suddenly the shy girl from Newark was a household name, and her steady stream of hits, Stupid Cupid, My Happiness, Lipstick on Your Collar, and later, Where the Boys Are, defined a generation of teenage romance and heartache. Audiences adored her wholesome image, her diction-perfect delivery, and the way her songs seemed to speak directly to the hopes and sorrows of young women. The 1960s were Connie Francis's golden decade. She became a global superstar, recording songs in more than 15 languages, from Italian and Spanish to German and Yiddish, breaking into markets where American pop stars had rarely succeeded. She toured Europe, Latin America, and Asia, becoming one of MGM's best-selling artists. Hollywood beckoned as well, and she starred in a series of musical films, most famously Where the Boys Are in 1960, which became both a box office hit and a cultural landmark for America's emerging youth culture. With her girl next door image and emotional ballads, Connie became not just a singer but a symbol of optimism and young love in post-war America. Yet behind the glamour lay personal battles. Her father's controlling nature kept her from pursuing her great love with fellow singer Bobby Darin, a heartbreak that haunted her for the rest of her life. As the decade wore on, the musical landscape shifted dramatically. The British invasion, Motown, and the rise of psychedelic rock made Connie's polished pop ballads seem old-fashioned. While her American chart dominance faded, she remained enormously popular abroad, especially in Germany, where she became a beloved star. Still, the pressure to reinvent herself was exhausting, and her film career began to decline by the late 1960s. By the 1970s, she was struggling to maintain her relevance in a world that had moved toward rock bands and singer-songwriters. Then, tragedy struck. In 1974, after a performance in New York, Connie was brutally assaulted in her hotel room. The trauma left lasting scars, leading to years of depression, anxiety, and withdrawal from the spotlight. A botched nasal surgery later damaged her voice, compounding her pain. Connie Francis was married 4 times, but all her marriages were short-lived. Beyond her 4 brief marriages, Connie Francis's most famous and heartbreaking relationship was with singer Bobby Darin. The two fell deeply in love in the late 1950s, but Connie's father vehemently opposed the romance, believing Bobby wasn't right for her, and he forced her to end it. Connie later called Bobby the love of my life, and admitted that losing him was her greatest regret. Afterward, she had a number of relationships, but none carried the same weight or fulfillment. Her marriages, to Dick Cornelis, Dr. Izzy Marion, Joseph Garzili, and Bob Parkinson, were all short-lived, often overshadowed by the pressures of her career, family interference, and her own struggles with trauma and depression. Though she longed for lasting companionship, Connie herself confessed that her true chance at happiness was lost with Bobby Darin, leaving her romantic life marked more by heartbreak than joy. The blows kept coming. In 1981, her beloved brother George Jr. was murdered, an event that devastated her already fragile spirit. Connie was hospitalized multiple times as she battled bipolar disorder and the emotional aftermath of her assault. Yet even amid such darkness, her resilience shone through. She published her candid autobiography Who's Sorry Now? In 1984, which became a bestseller and shed light on both the triumphs and tragedies of her journey. She became a vocal advocate for victims' rights, using her own suffering to bring awareness to women's safety in hotels and beyond. By the mid-1980s, she began cautiously returning to the stage, performing for nostalgic audiences who cherished her as a living link to an era of innocence and melody. Her concerts, whether in Las Vegas or on international tours, were filled with fans who had grown up with her music and never stopped loving her. Through the 1990s and into the 2000s, Connie Francis continued to perform, record, and accept awards that recognized her contributions to music. She was honored for breaking barriers as a woman in a male-dominated industry and for recording in so many languages, making her one of the most internationally versatile singers of her time. Despite her personal tragedies, failed marriages, health struggles, and the lingering shadows of loss, she remained a symbol of courage and endurance. Today, she is remembered not only for her iconic songs like Who's Sorry Now?, Stupid Cupid, and Where the Boys Are, but also for her role in paving the way for female artists who would follow. Connie Francis's story is one of brilliance and heartbreak, of a woman who reached dazzling heights yet endured devastating lows. Her music carried the innocence of young love, but her life revealed the strength it takes to rise again after tragedy. Known as the First Lady of Rock and Roll, she remains an icon of resilience, a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable challenges, the power of voice, both in song and in spirit, can never truly be silenced. That was the story of Connie Francis, a voice that defined a generation. Connie Francis's music lives forever, and so does her story. Thank you for watching this journey through the life of Connie Francis, and share your favorite song of hers in the comments below. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of legendary icons. See you in the next video.